Welcome back to Haddonfield and Beyond, your one-stop shop for all things Halloween, Haddonfield, the Shape, Loomis, selling the sizzle and not the steak, and anything else you can think of. We're joined today by the head creative, the head guy behind The Last Nightmare, a Halloween fan film, Mr. Braden Timmons. Long time no see, buddy. Dean and I are in love with the trailer, dude. Digging
Oh
what you're
yeah.
doing.
Man,
hmm
I'm glad that you guys liked it a lot. I mean, that was one that we were really struggling at putting together because we were debating what we wanted to use, what we didn't want to use, and you know what? We were like, okay, well, they're going to want to see Myers, so we had to showcase some good Myers moments. And you probably caught on a few snippets from the clip that we had released in January. That like I had said, is going to be in the movie. That was just our first look clip that we
hmm
wanted to showcase. I know that I remember getting some questions. They're like, okay, well, Michael's out and about now. He's clearly back in Haddonfield. How are you going to pick up this story? And as you can tell with the new trailer, it picks up literally moments after the events of the Haddonfield Nightmare. So, yeah, definitely excited to showcase some more as we get moving towards October. But super glad to be here with you guys, and I'm glad that you guys enjoy the trailer a lot.
If you're watching this video right now, we have not one but two trailer reactions on the channel for this. I had done one, and Dean and I just recorded one, so it will be posted before you guys see this video. That's how much we dig it.
hmm
We've been saying for a while now that if you're impatient for the Halloween TV series, there are specific, not to, throw shade at any of the fan films out there, but there are two fan films that we are heavily supporting as much as we can. And that is The Last Nightmare and James Grimm with Halloween Aftermath. I believe yours comes out this year and his comes out next year. So, like, if you're a Halloween fan, these Halloween fan films are being done in near major motion picture quality. I point at like a Never Hike Alone, for example, and to
hmm
me, what you guys are doing with your two films is very reminiscent of what they did over there, and it speaks to the quality that you guys are putting out.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely difficult, especially because we want to get the highest possible quality that we can because we don't want to go out there and we're not aiming to waste anybody's time. That's the one thing that we never want to have anybody look at the films that were involved in it and be like, whether you're a backer or an actor or a behind the scenes extra, whatever, we want to make sure that when you guys see the trailer or when they see the trailer that they actually feel that their time was validated. And I even feel more so with this one that it was than I did with HN. And I truly still very much enjoy HN. That was my first ever attempt at making a full-on feature-length film. I'd made a few terrible shorts before then, and I guess I just kind of threw myself off the bridge and was just like, "Hey, we're gonna dive into this and
Yeah.
just hope for the best." And it turned out pretty good for a first time major like attempt at making a movie. I'd say, like, I had taken everything that I'd compiled that I knew and learned shit along the way. That's just like how you're going to excel in this is by
hmm
actually doing it, which is like what I tell anybody. They're like, do you have advice for it? I'm like, yeah, literally just freaking make it and learn
hmm
as you go, because hands-on experience is going to teach you a lot more than sitting on YouTube for 5 hours trying to figure out how to do it. Because the one thing that they never tell you is that there's no right way to do it. It's just, I mean, you
hmm
can make a movie in all wide shots. It's not going to be ideal unless
Right.
it's involved with your story, but you could. And yeah, I just think that doing it's the best way to do it. So that's how I learned. And yeah, sorry to go on that little spiel, but had to mention that real quick.
Dean and I have some questions that we're gonna bounce off. If anybody else has any questions for Braden, just leave them down in the comment section below, and we will snip those out. And the next time we have Braden, we'll get him to answer them, or head on over to his channel on YouTube and just post the questions there. The trailer is available on YouTube. If you haven't seen it yet, please go view the actual trailer before you view our trailer reaction because it'll be in
Yeah.
much higher quality. I'm going to start with this, man. I don't know how much you dove into the Lost Halloween sequels, the Taking Shape books 1 and 2 by Dustin McNeil and Travis Mullins. They dive into a bunch of different Halloween movies that were either in pre-production or being proposed or well into the writing process. In some cases, getting ready to film within 2 weeks, and then it gets shut down. But Halloween Retribution is something that we're covering right now on the newly rebranded channel, and John Tate is a big part of that. And I don't know
Yes.
if you had an ability to dive into Halloween Retribution yet, or if it's merely a coincidence, but your John Tate feels a whole lot like the John Tate from what was going to be Halloween 9, Halloween Retribution, a form of him that is more mature and driven. And like I said during my trailer reaction, I think I said it again during Dean and I's, like I I believe this is John Tate, not just someone pretending to be John Tate. Where did your inspiration come from in terms of writing that character and bringing him back for your movies?
It was really Halloween 2018 that did it for me with what they did with Laurie Strode. I know that they had done it before with Halloween H2O, which in my opinion is the more realistic approach. You guys obviously know I love Halloween H2O and everything, and I do love what they did with Laurie in Halloween 2018. I do think that 2018 has a really stellar first 2 acts of dialogue that's pretty dang good. Um, but my approach was when I had known that I wanted to take the fan film game to a more serious level, is I was sitting down watching all the Halloween movies, taking notes, and I got to Halloween H2O. I was watching it and I was just like, holy shit. I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen a fan film that ambitious to tell a story of an older John Tate. Or a lot of the times, if you see John Tate pop up in a fan film, he's a teenager or he's just a little bit older, like he's in his 20s or something like that. Because in Halloween H2O, he's 17, and so we don't ever see him as like a mature adult. So I was like, if we can pull that off, that would be really cool. And I remember talking to my production team about it and some of our producers, and they were like, it's a really good idea. How are we going to go about casting? So it was more so figuring out all the logistics. It was around that time I reached out to the initial mask creator, who was Father Phantom Studio. They created the initial Haddonfield Nightmare mask for that movie. So just to kind of start getting pieces together to say, hey, we have this original idea. Would you want to be involved with it? And the thing is they would have to fast track their production because, I know that they usually, you get on their wait list and you're waiting a really good amount of time for your mask or something like that. So, they fast tracked it for us and we ended up getting it. COVID happened and we had to delay production. But honestly, if we didn't delay production, this movie would have come out in the worst possible way. The first one would have. And I don't even know if we would have finished it because it was during COVID where I really brought on all of my behind the scenes people that really helped make Haddonfield Nightmare happen. So yeah, that was a thing that was really important. And I honestly, not a lot of people thank COVID for a lot of things, but I thank COVID for that. So
Yeah, that's a tough subject in itself. But oddly enough, it kind of it had that effect on me too. It got me out of an employment situation that I wasn't very happy with, and then it gave me a much needed long break before finally things got more back to normal. And I was like, okay, it's time, for me to get my ass back to work. And it got me where I'm at now, and I'm a lot happier, and I'm doing much better. So yeah, COVID's not all bad, but there's definitely the negatives to it.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that a lot of people enjoyed being at home. I know that there's a lot of companies that now allow remote schedules. My company does as well. They allow some flexibility to allow a few days at home because, COVID showed that work can still get done during that time. But yeah, there was a lot of restructuring that I had to do on the script for Haddonfield Nightmare, and just things that like that classroom scene that's in the movie was probably about 5 pages longer than than what it was, and I had to kind of shave down some of that because I just didn't want it to go on that long. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, I don't want to have people sit here and just listen to all of this exposition. And even that, the scene ended up about 4 minutes long. So I mean, I'd say that's pretty good for a scene to just kind of explain where kind of he's at. And that's the essence of that scene, is really to kind of like showcase what he knows about Myers, what he's learned about Myers since his encounter with him, and then just really learning about how he wants to talk about his mom, and he still keeps that car accident rumor. So
yeah, I like things like that kind of dive into like more of the story. It shows the characters, kind of doing the research and studying and learning about their situation, and it's not like they're just coming into things with like all of this knowledge and expectation on how they're going to handle something. So I love stuff like that. I hope the rest of the fan base is kind of on board with that, because I know there's probably more people than not who really just want to get into the hack and slash, and they just want to see Myers out there kind of doing his thing. I like the story development along with that. So I like that approach. I definitely like that approach.
That's the one thing that we tried to do with Haddonfield, is we tried to really build that story. And there are some people that really appreciate it, like you, and then there are others that was just like, this is really boring. And I'm like, have you seen the first Halloween movie? Do you realize that nothing actually happens really until that big finale? Like, I mean,
right. Yeah, I hate when people just they want you to just kind of get right to it and put some story with it. Give us it's still a form of entertainment. It might come off as boring for some people, but just pay attention. Pick up on the story beats. That's really all you got to do. I'll throw one at you because you kind of mentioned it a little bit already. I was going to ask who did the mask for the movie. You kind of touched on that and gave us that whole explanation. So very cool that you it was an independent company or independent guy, I imagine, right?
So Father Phantom, they're a UK based company. They did the first mask. James Grimm actually did our mask for The Last Nightmare Part 1. So he collaborated with us, and we sent him a design. The designer of The Last Nightmare Part 1 mask is actually by our composer, Mike Shabani. And if you can't tell by his music already, he's a massive Halloween fan. And so, he sent us that design 1 week after the Haddonfield Nightmare came out. We've had that design in mind since literally November of 2021. So it's been a long time coming to showcase that design. So when we finally decided, hey, we're going to showcase the mask, we dropped that poster in October of last year. And we were like, are we ready to showcase this thing? Because once it's out there, people are going to see it, and that's it. So we definitely wanted to make sure that we do it justice. Obviously, in this one, Myers doesn't show his eyes like he does in the Haddonfield Nightmare, and the reasoning behind that, and the reason that I was able to get on board. I said in Haddonfield Nightmare he had to show his eyes because it's a sequel to H2O, and I wanted people to pick up on that. There are some shots that you can tell that they're not, like, you can't see the eyes, and I do love those shots, but I was like, no, for like with the close-ups, let's keep it H2O. The reason I got on board with this one with not showing the eyes is because this movie is him really re-transforming into the shape of evil, and that's where we really wanted to take Myers' story, is we wanted to give him that development to be like, okay, after 22 years, he's rusty. He gets his ass beat a little bit in the Haddonfield Nightmare, and this one is really taking him, and he is full on shape. He's the shape again, and that's basically what we're running with this one. So he's got a nice big bloody face under it, and that's really what helps us cover up the eyes in this one particularly. But yeah, we're excited for everyone to see this Myers in action for a fact.
Nice.
So, this might be a bit of a softball one, but what would you say the biggest difference is between, other than experience, filming this one and editing this one compared to your previous film?
It's the fact that I have the full team that I need now going into post production. I mean, our cut of the movie is basically done.
Nice.
Like it took a much longer time to edit the first one, and Zach Dion, who is our cinematographer and he's also our editor. I mean, it was one person that was editing it, so he edited this entire movie. He edited the trailer. He did a fantastic job on it. And everything. He took all the notes that I gave him and that, you know, him and Shabani were really working on it together. But yeah, he had all the files with him. With Haddonfield Nightmare, I was also editing some of the scenes and we were kind of co-editing. Like if you look at the credits, it says it's edited by both of us. And that's because I had started editing and I was just like, dude, I can't do this by myself. This is such a massive project. This is my first time doing it too.
Mm-hmm.
And Zach, he had taken some of the files home with him. And I'm like, if you have those scenes, just get those done. And we had to kind of send each other scenes, which was just a terrible process. So after he agreed to do this movie, he said that he wanted to edit the entire thing because it would be easier for him and all that. And I said, you know what, that's fine. You know, you want to get that off my plate. I handled all the pre-production stuff, and then everyone's now doing their respective post-production elements, and he's almost done. We have one scene left to shoot that we're going out to shoot in a couple weeks, and then that's it. Once that's edited, the movie's edited. So
nice. Awesome stuff, man. Let's throw this one at you. What do you hope that the audience this time around, what do you want them to take away from this one compared to the first Haddonfield Nightmare?
Well, I'm hoping that they're able to get more story development with H2O, like the classroom scene in HN. There is a very heavy exposition scene towards the middle of this movie. I won't tell you who it involves, but you'll know it when you see it. And it really does delve into what really happened in Halloween H2O, which I think that people are going to very much appreciate. But yeah, it's a great scene and everything, and I'm very excited for everyone to be able to not only see more of the Tate's story development, but you're also going to get more about Officer Williams, and you're also going to get more Michael Myers. So hopefully those that are really in it for the slashing and gashing, hopefully they're more satisfied in this one. But for those that love story and the slashing and gashing, I think that those fans are really going to like this one, because I was telling Sean this the other day when we were just messaging back and forth, that I do feel like this is a really good, it feels like a right next chapter to set up this big finale, because this is only part one.
Nice.
So you know it's going to end on a cliffhanger, and you're going to be like, well, what the shit, now we have to wait for part two. You know, that I'm hoping that people see that ending and they see where it's going to leave off, and that people are just, they can't wait for part two. That's what I really wanted to take away from this, is like, I want the antsiness. I want is part two fucking dropping tomorrow? Because it better be.
Yeah.
Like,
Nice.
You know, unfortunately it's not. We don't have any sort of surprise like that, but yeah, that's what we're really hoping, so that way we can really get out there and make this finale happen, because I'm so excited to shoot this final part.
Well, that's a perfect segue for me to lead us to our outro. And if you want to check out a question I have for Braden about part two, tune into our next video. So check that out. Braden, where can everybody find what you got going on? How can they support what you have? I know your Indiegogo campaign wrapped up, but from what I understand, there's still some perks out there available, and Blu-rays available, and just how can people find your project and how can they support you?
Yeah, so the project is actually still, since we did hit our initial goal, we are in demand right now still on Indiegogo. So people can still go check out the Indiegogo campaign. I did link that in the trailer. I think it's in my pinned comment, just as I talk a little bit about how this has been about 2.5 years in development, and the trailer finally came out. And so you can click on the link on that, check out some great perks. We still have we have one discounted producer credit left, and then we've got about, I think yesterday we were at 26. Today we're less than 25 Blu-rays left to purchase it for this project. Otherwise, you guys are going to have to wait for part 2 to start funding, and we're not sure when that's going to open yet. It'll be sometime next year, but we're not sure. But so if you want to be one of the first to get a copy and own the physical media, then you're going to want to make sure that you get it with this campaign. You could also find us at Bat Productions Official on Instagram, and you could follow the Last Nightmare page on Instagram and on Facebook for all development on the project. We're basically about to start moving full on ahead with marketing. So
It's good stuff, man. I'm proud to say I was able to get in on the Indiegogo, get myself some Blu-rays. So looking forward to those.
I'm looking forward to that special cover. Love it. Love the mask.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't ask for a better cover. If you want to check out our bonus content we have available here on Haddonfield and Beyond, we have a revamped Patreon page out there now. Patreon.com/Fandom Haven, not Fandom Empire. And if you're looking for the content that left this channel, that used to be on this channel, you can check out the Legacy of Star Wars and the Legacy of Westeros on YouTube, respectively. Big thank you to our channel sponsors, Jesse Storytime Spectacular, Backtrack Cinema, Jason Knight, Chris C_78 if you're looking to get a Myers mask made, Ryan from Colleague Nation, and our buddy Matt, who is still very much in the fight for his life at the moment. And we're thinking of you, Matt. And we know that he loved the trailer and loves what you're doing too, man. So really appreciate you spending the time with us. Look for another much shorter video with a few more questions in the next few days. But for Braden and Dean, I'm Sean, and we'll see you again in Haddonfield and beyond.